Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
I guess we start out with great news, ladies and gentlemen. Better late than never, that's for sure. Also, federal judges blocking ICE arrests. ICE agents getting charged. Oh, man. Weekends ending with tons of arrests. Kash Patel. Judges restricting immigration enforcement. All I can tell you is it's getting crazy out there, ladies and gentlemen. But don't worry, Liberty Roundtable Live is here to bring it to your attention. Tell the tale of truth. That's who we are and what we do. Welcome to the show. Sheriff Mack with me, CSPOA.org. That's CSPOA.org for the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Please join. You can become a member of the posse, helping your sheriffs stand tall for the sacred cause of liberty. Sheriff Mack also wrote a new book with his co-author. The new book, The Democrat Murder of America. Yeah, demagoguery in the first degree. Daniel Perkins, the co-author. Sheriff Mack, new book. The digital version or ebook is available today, right now, murderofamerica.com. Check it out, murderofamerica.com. The paperback coming soon. Sheriff, welcome back, sir.
Thanks a lot, Sam. It's great to be with you again.
We got to celebrate, my friend. Colorado Governor commutes Tina Peters' sentence after appeals court orders resentencing. So he was almost forced to do it. A lot of push from President Trump. Trump gets credit for putting pressure on this governor. But Colorado Governor Jared Polis is his name. He's a Democrat. He committed the prison sentence. I wish he would have pardoned completely, but at least we've got something of Tina Peters. She's the former Mesa County clerk, if you will, that stood tall. And so June 1st, I guess, is when she's going to be released. I don't know why it's taking so long, but all I can tell you is it's better late than never, sir, and it is time to celebrate. At least something is going right, and thank heavens for Donald Trump's incredible push on that, because that, I think, probably made the difference, Sheriff.
Yeah, it probably did, and I'm grateful that he did it. I actually got a tear in my eye when I found out about it. This has been a very long, horrible nightmare for her. She's been abandoned by her family. She's been abandoned by friends. She's been abandoned by so many different parts of government.
Not by Sam Bushman and Sheriff Richard Mack, though. No, sir.
We stood strong with her. So did Mark Fincham. Mark Fincham and I were both at her trial.
Amen.
Both of us saw what an absolute disaster it was. It didn't resemble anything with truth or justice. The judge was an absolute nightmare. Refused to allow her any defense. And any judge that does that, the jury can figure out what evidence they want to look at and not. But he's denied them any opportunity for that because he denied her legitimate defense. But it was a very sham of a trial. And right now, Sam, even after this governor has now commuted her sentence and she'll be free in a little over a week, woke Democrats, or just Democrats, okay, have said, oh, she deserved what she got. She's an election denier. Is an election denier a criminal? For us to come out and say... I don't even know what
an election denier is, though. She admits there was an election. She just thinks it was a fraudulent one.
Well, she wanted to see...
How do you deny the election?
Yeah,
Aren't they the deniers? They're the ones denying when she brings evidence forward. They're the ones denying and not letting her show her evidence. Aren't they the deniers?
Hillary Clinton should be in prison then if they would do that, because the Democrat Party cannot see what's really there, and that this hypocrisy is completely consuming their souls. And so oh yeah, she deserves 9 years in prison. Most murderers don't get that much time.
Neither do rapists or illegals.
Yeah. And so it's so absurd. But of course the Democrats go, oh yeah, she deserves it. She's an election denier. My goodness. Then a lot of us would be in prison, wouldn't we, Sam?
Well, and I don't even know what an election denier is. I admit there's elections. We see them all the time. I just admit there's fraud during those elections, and I think evidence has proven that time and time and time again. Every time they say there's no election fraud, we find somebody else getting arrested, right?
Well, the greatest election fraud right now, and I obviously bring this out in our book, The Democrat Murder of America, is that the reason they wanted all these illegal aliens here, tens of millions of them, is to stack the deck on their voter rolls so they could have a complete monopoly of political power nationwide. And that's why they've done it, and they're still
They
doing
want to
it.
just
And
turn states blue with illegals, right?
well, of course. Yes, and that's what they've done. And this is the biggest election fraud that has ever hit our country. And it's just the Democrats' way of cheating. And of course,
Barack Obama even encouraged illegals to vote and suggested that they were citizens if they voted. I mean, it was absolute. Now, is that an election denier, or is that just the president committing fraud? I mean, he was president and he really said this kind of stuff, and you kind of go, wow. But now it gets worse because a federal judge blocks ICE arrests in Manhattan immigration courts. This is very interesting, Sheriff. A federal judge in New York, I guess, is preventing ICE from making most arrests at the lower Manhattan immigration courts, ruling that, hey, they must be able to appear in court without fear of detention. So let me get this right. You have the right to go and see a judge and have the judge adjudicate in your favor, and you can't be arrested for your criminal activity. So that means what? You could say, well, they deserve their day in court, Sam. And my response is, at what level? Okay, we believe in due process. I support that. But at what level do we give these people due process? I mean, we basically protect them in jail. We protect them out of jail. We release them from jails. We don't give the general government, whose responsibility is constitutionally to deal with immigration, we don't give them the chance to even adjudicate these things because we release them. I mean, what kind of criminal activity do these judges not understand?
well, when you're corrupt, it doesn't much matter. When you're woke, it just doesn't much matter. And when you're a Democrat loyalist, it just doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. And that's what a democracy does. A democracy is based on do whatever you want as long as you have the mob on your side. One more than 50%.
Well, that's why we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic where representatives are the order of the day, and they basically are supposed to carry out their responsibilities based on the rule of law.
Sam.
Come on.
Don't you wish that were true?
Yes, I do, sir. Yes, I do. Anyway, the next headline is just as interesting, though. It says ICE agent charged after Minneapolis shooting during immigration operation. A Minnesota prosecutors issued a, quote, nationwide warrant for an ICE agent, Christian Castro, after charging him with assault and false reporting tied to the shooting of a, quote, Venezuelan migrant during the raid in, I guess, January. It was an enforcement operation. And here's the problem that I see, Sheriff. I'm not defending if any of these ICE agents took extra force when they shouldn't have. I'm not defending that. What I am defending, though, is they literally encourage insurrection, riots, criminal activity, blocking the police, harming the police, trashing private property or police property, and this and that. And then when something doesn't go their way, they want to sue and act like the guy was just out of control. At what point or at what balance as a law enforcement officer do you deal with here, right? I mean, you got to be honest. When you go out there and your life's in danger, you're trying to, round up these illegals and criminals, and you get blocked at every turn, even by Minnesota government and Minnesota leaders and political officials and whatever, standing in your way and running interference. What do you do, Sheriff, in that situation?
Yeah, that's a $10,000 question right there, Sam, because as you alluded to, the local officials, governors and AGs and mayors and chiefs of police were actually encouraging the disobedience, the insurrection by citizens in their protests. And they said, if you need to take a gun, because you might have to defend yourself from these thugs. And so that the politicians in Minnesota and Minneapolis actually set the stage for this kind of violence.
And these are really Democrats, to make your point of your book, right?
Exactly. Totally woke Democrats. And this is why we called it like it is, Sam, the murder of America by the Democrat Party, the Democrat murder of America. And boy, everybody should read this book, and you probably ought to start with the epilogue, the end, and see what the end is asking you to do, and then start at the beginning and read the entire book.
Well, that's a Michael Peruk idea. Hey, if I get taken out before I give you the rest of my speech, I want you to know the end.
Yeah.
It's a great point. So anyway, Minnesota prosecutors are out of control here. And again, when's the judge going to say, well, wait, you can't arrest this guy, or you got to, whatever, he's got to be adjudicated first. You got to see what, that's what we're doing in New York for illegals, but yet we're not going to do that for this ICE agent?
Yeah, but I got the other question that I wanted to pose to you earlier when you were talking about this. Why didn't they charge the officer who killed Renee Good?
Well, fair question. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
why
it in
did they charge
seconds.
him?
We'll talk about it in seconds. I also want to talk about a Jeep weekend in Galveston. We'll do it all in seconds. Liberty Roundtable Live. Back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Bushman. Sheriff Mack is with me. And Sheriff Mack said, what about this shooting of Renee Good? Why don't we adjudicate that in a real sense? This is where I just feel like justice doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know. I don't understand all this. It seems like a lot of this ought to be more transparent, and we ought to follow the law on these things. But it seems like if you've got political friends in high places, there's kind of two classes of people, Sheriff. Different things happen to different people based on who you are, right?
Well, the thing of it is, I said all along, and I've said it on this show before, that the officer, the ICE agent, was attacked by and hit by a deadly weapon, her vehicle, her truck. Renee Good ran into the officer, and it looked like she may have done it intentionally. And so maybe the stupid politicians and judges in Minneapolis or Minnesota decided, obviously, this was self-defense, and the officer was within his rights to shoot her, even though I disagreed with him shooting her. I would not have taken that shot.
He didn't have to, was the point.
Exactly. The vehicle hit him. He went down. The threat was over. She kept going. The threat was over. And so, but, they still could sue. I bet the family does sue, and I'll bet they'll win. But
well, I understand.
Time,
it's a sad deal, but let's just be very clear. There's many people that are for violence. The Democratic Party seems to be the author of violence in America today. Those who are affiliated, those who are extreme on that side of the political spectrum, to say the least, they blame conservatives as if we're violent. But time after time after time, the truth seems to be blaring in the situation where, hey, the liberals and the extremes, the Democrats, they're the violent, and we see it time and time again. Speaking of that, by the way, Sheriff Mack and I don't have it for $10,000 for those who can tie us to violent activity. We decided to raise that to $25,000 now.
Raise
Sheriff.
it to 100, heck.
Oh, wait, it's $100,000 now? If you can tie Sam Bushman or Sheriff Richard Mack to violent activity.
Well, it might as well be anything because there's nothing
Doesn't
there.
Exist.
But you never know. You got to be careful with this AI stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Show us
Pretty
doing
soon they'll have the AI Mac running around with a samurai sword or something, right?
I want him to do something, especially on you, so they'll make it look like you're shooting at somebody.
Blind people with samurai swords. That's
blind. Yeah, exactly. And they'll forget the thing that maybe you were born blind. And so I'd really like to see what AI thing they can
and they need to show me attacking only black people too,
and that you really can see.
Yeah,
and that
there you go.
It's
really a big lie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back to the issues at hand. This story is fascinating. I wanted to bring it to Sheriff Mack's attention. Galveston Jeep Weekend is what it's called. So in Galveston, Texas, they got a big old Jeep weekend.
Yeah.
And it ends with 110 arrests, 1,500 traffic stops. Texas law enforcement agencies reported this. And they say there's felonies, there's all kinds of charges. Basically, illegals, the list just goes on and on and on of the arrests they've got going on there. What do you think? That doesn't sound like a fun Jeep weekend.
How many traffic stops did you say?
2,500, sir.
Oh my!
What the heck?
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 1,500. 1,500 traffic stops, 110 arrests.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely astonishing. Well, I guess it's a Jeep rally, so you might as well get your money's worth and get stopped for it. But that's This whole thing.
At some point, it's over the top, though, Sheriff. I mean, come on.
It is.
Are that many people really doing that many wrongs? Or are we talking about tic-tac? Let's see how much we can fleece from the public in terms of tic-tac fines and everything else, right?
But look at the teen violence going on across the country, Washington, D.C., New York, and I'm sure that this had a lot of teenagers as well. And then Florida, lots of teens and others, young adults, going crazy at spring break. And it's getting to where the tourist towns of Florida and others don't want them there anymore, even though it's a great boon for them financially. They don't want them anymore. And people are starting to get sick and tired of it. And this is just getting my book, Sam, points out a chapter about we've gone too far. And this is
boy, howdy does this illustrate that?
But AI is one of the biggest signs of that. We've gone too far. We don't even know what's real anymore. So,
well, and we got this FBI director, Kash Patel, which you and I endorsed publicly. Now he's basically dealing with these weird allegations. Senators are drilling him and everything else about this. They challenge him during a, quote, budget hearing over allegations of excessive drinking. He says it's all bogus and he's going to sue him. I don't know the truth. I'm not on the inside, but to me, it almost seems like we've just got lawfare against Kash now. Yeah.
Well, Sam, there was a big argument and back and forth across the aisle thing just a few months ago about the budget. And a senator called out, he says, don't be bringing me up your hypocrisy anymore, because there's several of you that I've seen sit in these chairs while you've been drunk on your butt. And so don't be bringing this stuff up anymore about who drinks and who doesn't, because I've seen many of you sit in that chair and vote while you were stone drunk. So if we're going to be talking about drinking, there's many of you in here that should be throwing stones at everybody else's glass houses. And so, again, Sam, the whole process of politics in Washington, D.C. is based on the principle of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy.
Who do you know gets you off, and who you don't know gets you attacked, and whatever else, and that's the problem. All right, I want to ask this question before the end of the hour. There's several stories that I see in the news today about federal marshals. U.S. Marshals arrest. Iowa shooting suspect is one of them. U.S. Marshals capture fugitive based on a 1993 Detroit murder. U.S. Marshals and ICE arrest fugitive wanted for murder in Albania. And everything is about these U.S. Marshals. And I kind of look at the Constitution, Sheriff, and to me, maybe I'm confused, but I don't see anything about a U.S. Marshal in there, number one. And number two, I see a very limited scope on the federal level for law enforcement of any kind, for that matter. But you've got the FBI, the CIA, the Marshals, the this, the that, the what. What the heck is a Marshal, and why are they everywhere instantly now? What's up with that?
Yeah, well, Marshals have been around a long time. I'd have to look up the history of them to see, but U.S. Marshals are mostly in charge of what you were just saying. They go after fugitives. And so
I thought the CIA did that.
No, CIA is an intel organization. They're intelligence.
Then why are they drinking and smoking and partying and doing drugs and laptops with prostitutes and stuff?
No, that was the DEA. Gosh,
that
Sam,
was
you just
DEA.
can't keep all
I can't
these
even
straight,
keep track
can
of
you?
all these government things. What the heck is the DEA and the CIA and the FBI and the Marshals and this? I mean, is the Marshal just the guy that goes on the plane and makes sure the plane doesn't go down? Who are these people?
Like we're pointing out, Sam, there's just too many. We've gone too far. But
Amen
seriously, U.S. Marshals are in charge of fugitives, going after fugitives. So,
well, I support that.
well, yeah, but why can't
the
the
question
FBI?
is, how come they haven't got a hold of Hillary yet?
Why? Yeah, why can't the FBI go after their own fugitives?
There you go.
U.S. Marshals. So if Secret Service or DEA or all these others,
ICE, FBI,
yeah,
CIA,
if they have a
IRS.
fugitive, then the U.S. Marshals is turned over to the U.S. Marshals.
All right, and they're the ones that go on planes too, right?
I'm not. No, those are just airline that's probably Department
I
of
think they're marshals
Transportation.
too. Anyway, we got to study this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
telling you, there's too many government at the federal level law enforcement agencies. When I look at the supreme law of the land, there's a very narrow scope for them to even exist. There's way too much federal law enforcement, Sheriff, from the IRS on down.
Sam, don't forget, there was no Homeland Security until 2001.
Yes, sir.
So,
That's right.
man, yeah, we had to have that. But that was just a political thing to appease the American people that were doing more to stop planes running into skyscrapers in America. It was political. It was balderdash. It was a scam.
And now we can't
see,
even
we're
keep it
doing more.
funded because of partisan politics.
Yeah, of course. And so it's just feel good legislation. It was just to appease the American people, and we had plenty of agencies back then, and many of them failed to do their job, and so they created a new bureaucracy to make sure they all did their job.
A little bit of advice from the kind of business world for government. When you have 20 agencies doing a bad job, what you don't do is consolidate them into one massive agency that does a bad job, and then you can never get it funded. That's a bad idea.
There's your political wrap up of Washington D.C. right there. That was
All right,
perfect.
ladies and gentlemen, Sheriff Mack with me. He's the president and founder of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, CSPOA.org. Become a member today. Become part of the sheriff's posse across the country, supporting your local sheriff, folks. We really need to have local law enforcement and sheriffs and we the people working together under the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, protecting people's rights, due process, making sure people, are protected. Like we've discussed, prison reform, sheriffs can make a huge difference, and we the people need to back constitutional sheriffs, CSPOA.org. Also, Sheriff Mack's new book out today. It's an ebook, The Democrat Murder of America. Yeah. Demagoguery in the first degree is what it really is highlighting this reality that we're facing. Murderofamerica.com is the website. Daniel Perkins and Sheriff Richard Mack, both well-known authors in their own right, collaborate on this incredible book to highlight what's going on. And understand, folks, it's not about attacking the Democrats. It's really about attacking, hey, don't use party to back principles that destroy America. We don't care who you are. Everybody, sit up and take notice and promote God, family, and country and the traditions of our founding fathers. Realize the supreme law of the land is what it is, supreme, and we must obey it and stand tall for it. For Sheriff Richard Mack and Sam Bushman, I'm available at libertyroundtable.com, libertynewsradio.com, that's the radio side, and available everywhere on video, YouTube, Rumble, Truth Social, X, everywhere, baby. Spread the word, share the love, and God save the Republic of the United States of America.
There's a penalty for truth, but it's worth it when you try. Yeah, it's worth it when you try.